back in and put the mic on to see if it's it. He may have programmed something in it. Good morning. Good morning. Turn in your Bibles to Exodus chapter 8. Exodus chapter 8. We're so glad that you're with us this morning. We really do appreciate visitors when we get them, and you're our honored guests. And if there's any questions you may have or anything we can do for you, please feel free to ask anyone. And if you ask me, I'll direct you to Kevin and he'll take care of it. I'm just playing, Kevin, but I might. I'm sorry. Exodus chapter 8. So it's Genesis, Exodus. So it's right at the very beginning. You in the songbook. Let's get you a Bible. I'll tell you what. Yeah, that's good. So it's Genesis and then Exodus. So it's right toward the beginning of the Bible. And it's Exodus chapter 8. And for anyone who is online, please let us know if you can hear. We're trying different things to get the online thing working correct, and we're going to keep working until we figure this out. But if you're viewing online now, just let us know if you can hear, and if not, then we will keep working. Won't be this morning, maybe in the middle of everything, but we'll keep trying and experiment until we get it right. Exodus chapter 8. Would someone like to read the first 3 verses?
And the Lord spoke to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh and say to him, Thus says the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all your territory with frogs. For the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into your house, into your bedroom, on your bed, into the houses of your servants, on your people, into your oxen, and into your needs."
Wow.
Wow, I never knew it was that bad.
Oh, it was that bad. That's why earlier I mentioned frogs, because that's right, Grant, it is bad. So when you read verse 3, you're there, right? I saw you look. Okay, good. And so when you look at verse 3, man, it just jumps off the page, doesn't it? You ever been really good in the sleep and get woke up because you feel something crawling on your skin? You ever done that? Kind of, and you whether it's whatever, could be a fly just landed on you and crawled, or ticks can get on you, spiders. I think you'd feel a frog. And knowing it's in your bed even before you lay down. Who's laying down? Bed full of frogs. You jumping in? You would. Some people says, hey, I'm getting rest no matter what. Tired, you got to get some rest.
You only have one life.
One life. I like that. So, and the Lord spake unto Moses, verse 1, go unto Pharaoh. He's telling him to go again now. Remember, 7 days passed and they had turned the water into blood, and it stank. Pharaoh wouldn't let his people go to worship him, serve him in the wilderness. So now the Lord tells Moses to go again. And this is what you say. Is that important? Is that important that Moses does as the Lord says? It is. That's something we can learn. Romans 15:4 says those things written aforetime was written for our learning. You're going to hear me give you that verse almost every time we do a Bible study in the Old Testament. Just to kind of keep up with what my mentor did many years ago, and I always appreciated him doing that. So I kind of mimicked that a little bit. But it's true. So as we stop, we can look at small details and not miss things. And sometimes that's what we need to do. Because number one, the word go is in there. And then we see where he tells him, thus saith the Lord, let my people go that they may serve me. So important that it's a thus saith the Lord. I know you've probably heard that in the past, but it is. It is so important. Because so many people will say, thus saith the Lord, and the Lord never said it. Why do they do that, do you think? I'm sorry? I don't know that it's so much that, but it could be. Could be to deter you. I've got a different thinking, but it doesn't mean that some of them's not doing that. Some of them very well could. We don't know the intent of someone, do we? We don't know what they're thinking or why they do what they do sometimes. Any other thoughts on that? Maybe that's what they've been taught. Maybe they've been taught that by some other man. But we need to be very careful. As students of the Bible, we need to be very careful that we don't tag a "thus saith the Lord" when he didn't say it. And, you know, we can, who doesn't? Let me ask this question. And I think even Grant qualifies not to raise his hand, so kind of put his left hand down. No, I'm just playing, leave his hand. Raise your hand if you don't have an opinion. Everybody's going to have an opinion, right? So, and I heard him talking to me on back there. So, Grant keeps me going. But we have opinions. And there's nothing wrong with having an opinion, but let's base it off of facts. And try to learn all we can and glean all we can. But let's make sure we don't add to or take away from the Bible. That's Deuteronomy 4:2 and over in Proverbs and then over in the end. So if we add to or take away from the book, the Bible says we're in trouble. We'll either have the plagues added to us or our name can be removed from the book of life. We don't want to diminish the power because the Word of God is power. So verse number 2 said, and if thou refuse to let them go. I love the way the Lord does this. Even with Pharaoh, that he said he's going to have to remove his people out of Egypt to go do what they need to do because he's heard them crying. In order to do this, he's going to have to do it with a strong hand, but he's fair. God is fair, not Pharaoh. God is here. Because look at what he did. He said, and if thou refuse to let them go. He gave him an option. And see, that's one of the things that we have to take into consideration because a lot of things are going to happen in this life. Things that we have no control over. And we got to be very careful with that. Pharaoh here is so stubborn, as has been brought out previous, that he's like, who is God and who does he think he is? I'm Pharaoh. I'm not listening to him. Well, what if somebody came to you and they said, who do you think you are? Is them fighting words already? How do we deal with that? Would we be patient with them? Would we, if we was in that position, now we're not sitting in the position God's in, but if we was in that position, would we be fair? Or would we just say, you know what, you in my way, you're obliterated. We're just going to wipe you out. And we're just going to wipe you off the face of the earth. We're not giving you no options, no choices. You see, here in a little bit, you're going to have a choice. And nobody's going to force your hand in where you eat or what you eat. You have a choice. That's a good thing. Because if you come up and told me I had to go eat dog food, I'd be in trouble. And that's my only option. Never ate it. Might be good, but I don't think so. I have options. I have choices. Well, he gives Pharaoh an option and a choice. Now, it's still based off of what he's telling him to do. It's not, you can do whatever you want to do. He gives him this in verse 2. And if thou refuse to let them go. So he has a choice. He can let them go or he doesn't have to let them go. But he's going to be the point that he's going to let him know what's going to happen. Wouldn't you love in your lifetime, because let's face it, other than Grant, we've seen a lot of bad things happen to us in our lifetime, right? Things we didn't see coming. Things we didn't plan for. Maybe a car accident. Maybe a loved one mistreating you, maybe different things, whatever you can think in your lifetime that's happened to you. What if you knew ahead of time what was going to go down and you could make a choice? Okay, there's going to be a terrible wreck. I saw it on the internet yesterday. There was a rollover like 4 or 5 times on 93 or somewhere, 293 or something. I saw it on the internet. And some people claim, and who knows, the driver was on his phone and wailing his hands and speeding and cutting across lanes. I don't know. I'm just reading into the headline. And he rolled it like multiple times. Well, what if he had woke up that morning and he had said, you know what, I'm finna go get on the road, and he would have knew that if I get in the car, I'm going to be in a wreck. What do you think he'd have chosen? You jump in the car anyway? I mean, if I wake up in the morning and, okay, Terry, here's the deal. If you leave the house before 9 o'clock, you're a dead man. You think you're going to catch me outside? No, I'm going to set in. Pharaoh has an option here. If you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. Now, he's already seen the first plague. And even though his magicians or whatever you want to call them come in and it said they did the same, he still stayed with him 7 days. You know that wasn't comfortable. So now he gets a warning. Yes, Paul. When you go back to the end of chapter 7, well, okay, so maybe I read that wrong. Let's make sure. And 7 days were fulfilled after that the Lord had smitten the river. So maybe it's just 7 days later that we're going to this. So I don't want to, keep me on track because I could have missed that. Because I had in my mind that the water was blood for 7 days. Maybe it was. That'll be a good thing for Kevin to look up and get back with us with if he can find an answer on that. I like to put stuff on Kevin since he's here. I would put it on Braden, but he's somewhere else. So Kevin's got it. Okay, so verse 3, and the river shall bring forth frogs. Now, same river that was bloody and stank, now it's bringing up frogs. I have to look at it that way. I can't get that out of my mind. Water stinking and that's all I got. That bothers me. But now frogs are coming up out of it abundantly. What if you was on a riverbank when this took place? We see things sometimes and it's just mind-blowing to us. We can see something that's just so not the norm. And it's almost like you can't take your eyes away from it, Can you picture? I've been on many riverbanks. Y'all been on a riverbank any? Yeah. I enjoy the riverbank. River almost cost me my life one time, but I still enjoy the riverbank. I don't necessarily want in it because it's dangerous. As I stand on the bank, I'm expecting to hear the water because the river's moving. I want to hear the birds. The last thing I want to see is a pile of frogs coming up out of it at one time, abundantly, just coming up out of the river. That's fine. And what we got a bathroom on the right-hand side if you need it right there. All right. So you see all these frogs coming out of the river. What do? We haven't got that far yet, but you out of there, huh? Here's the problem, though. There, as we read on in verse number 3, you're not going to get away from them. It's just not. You ever had something get in your house and you wonder how it got in there? Now remember, they're not building the same way me and you have now, but it's still going to be all over the place. Everywhere they look, frog. Some people love frogs. You ever have a place where you stay where there's water nearby? We went and dug out a teardrop pond one time, right beside the kitchen window. I thought, man, we're going to have fish in it and it's going to be cool and we're going to have a little waterfall. Well, a couple of things caused me to put the dirt back in the hole. One of the things was frogs. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you lay in there trying to rest and all you hear is them frogs, and they're outside, it's on your nerves, believe it or not. Imagine them up in the bed with you. I'm sorry? Yeah, they're loud. I mean, they're really, especially when it's good and quiet. And I remember always kind of keeping a little bit of an ear for any noise that was not the creaks of the house or the refrigerator kicking on and off or the hot water heater kicking on. I knew those noises. I got accustomed to them noises and I sleep right through them. But any other little noise, I'm popping my eyes open. I mean, I got little ones. I've got a wife. I'm trying to, be a protector of the home. And the minute it gets good and still and quiet, them frogs get started, and I'm like, oh, I wished I could catch them all and take them somewhere else. They're just driving me insane. Well, these frogs is in their beds. Today for lunch, I'm gonna fix everybody lunch. You just come over to the house. I'm gonna prepare this huge, great big meal. But the whole time I'm trying to prepare it, I got to swat frogs away from the food. Now, who's coming to eat with me? I had a lady one time. I was bringing out some verses from the Bible, and just to make the point, I talked about how I was going to fix a great big meal, and I can't remember the verse now, but I just said, the only problem I got is, and I got like 50,000 cockroaches running across my stove. And that lady looked at me and she said, you can forget me ever eating another bite you fixed. And I just started laughing. I was making a point. And here you got these frogs just taking over any and everything. Any comments through the first 3 verses? Let's get a few more. Let's go 4 through 6.
And the frogs shall come up on you, on your people, and on all your servants. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your hand with your rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up on the land. So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered it.
So now it's taking place. Where's the power?
What?
Where's the power? God. Because sometimes we can get caught up in what they did. The power's God, but what made it work? Their obedience. That's exactly right. They was obedient to what the Lord told them to do. So now, think about this. Now, this is going to cover the whole land of Egypt. All their land. Who could be affected by this besides the Egyptians? That's right. Everything's going to be affected, including the people that's cried out to the Lord. Because they're in their land per se, but not right up with them. So, why? Does that make sense to you? Okay. Well, hopefully we can get there and help you with that over time. So, you remember when Moses and Aaron had went in initially? Do you remember the same ones that cried out to God? Lord, help us. We're being tormented by these Egyptians. When God sent Moses and Aaron in, retaliation came from Pharaoh, not God. Pharaoh. He made it much worse on the people. And what did they do to Moses and Aaron, who was just a messenger? They railed on them. They blamed them. Do you think that escaped the attention of God? You cry out to him for the help, but then you rail on him. Sometimes it's because we want everything just exactly the way we want it, but it may not be what we need at the moment. I've been there. I don't know anyone alive that can say they haven't been there. If they are, then I'd love to meet them and talk to them that something didn't happen in their life, and the first thing they did is they cried out to God. And then when it appeared nothing changed, then they went to blaming him. Well, that's exactly what his people did. They cried out to him, get us out of this. We in misery, help us. He's sending the help. They don't understand it. That goes back to Isaiah 55, 8, 9. His thoughts and ways are far above mine and yours. They didn't understand it. That's okay. A lot of times we're not going to understand it. But watch. A lot of times we get caught up in the blame game instead of just paying attention to see what the future holds. They rail on Moses and Aaron. Just rail on them. Oh, you come in here to make it worse, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know who needed to see the power of God besides the Egyptians? The people crying out to him. They need to understand this too. Now, he's not going to put them through the same exact torture as we go on and read, but if you notice, all the water was turned to blood and it stank. Do you think they had some special supply somewhere? What about these frogs? Was they excluded? Well, we'll only know when we read, and if he doesn't tell us, then it covered the whole land of Egypt. We know that, and they're in that land. So, any other comments through 6? Let's go ahead and get 7, 8, and 9. Yes, one more.
Moses said to Pharaoh, accept the honor of saying, when I shall intercede for you, to destroy the gods from you.
Little difference. Little difference. Even though some of it's the same. Did the magicians do the same thing? Said they did. They did the same thing previous. We never saw Pharaoh even give the acknowledgement of God till now. What did he say? Let's look at it again. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me. From who? From me. From me. And from my people. Well, these frogs must have been worse than the bloody water. I don't know. Both of them sound bad to me. Which one would you choose? Who wants the bloody water? Raise your hand. Nobody. Who wants the frogs? Raise your hand. Nobody. They both bad. Pharaoh's going to entreat the Lord. Okay. Maybe we're getting somewhere. And he even said, what? Remove these frogs. Remove thee. If he will remove thee, he even knows who it is. It's not Aaron and Moses, is it? Because he didn't go, hey, y'all two just go get rid of these frogs and I'll let them go. That ain't what he said. And I'll let them go. Now, I'm going to get a little ahead, but I'm not going there. I'm just going to talk about it a minute and then we'll get ahead. I normally don't do that, don't like to do that, but I have done it. Is he going to let them go? Everybody's going, no. So what is he? He's a liar. He's a liar. Now, let's put that in perspective, because I tell you all the time, when we go back and look at the Old Testament, we need to put it in an application today. I remember, believe it or not, and it wasn't one of these where you see these people jump off this bridge and have a rope tied to them. I'm talking about bungee jumping now. It's not one of these where they jump off a bridge and go hundreds of yards down and then come up and all that. I didn't do that. But on a dare, when I was young, I let them hook me up to a device with the person that dared me. And they hoisted us up, and it was in an arch. Huge arch, went way above the ground. I thought, ain't gonna be nothing to it. I got this. He dared me. I'm a man. You know how us men can be. I'm a man. I'll do this. I'm big, I'm tough, I'm rugged. So they had this little platform, and it was on a hydraulic. So I go climb up on the platform, and they lift me up. They got me in this harness, and then they take this rope, bungee, whatever you call it, and they snap it into my back. There's a thing running around my hip, and they said, this is your release on your hip right here, okay? When we give you a thumbs up from the ground, you'll feel it lock. And then we're going to give you a thumbs up, and then you pull the release, and it's going to drop you, but then you swing like this, okay? And then when you come to a stop, they bring the hydraulic back up and get you and bring you back down to the ground, unhook you, and you're done. On a dare, I'm doing it. Boy, I jump up on that hydraulic. They snap that thing in. I'm going, there ain't nothing to this, blah, blah, blah. My cousin's the one that dared me. He's sitting there beside me. They said, y'all need to interlock elbows. So we did. I got the release. He doesn't. They have that thing so it won't hit the ground. So that's why the hydraulic's there. Well, the minute they start the hydraulic down, I went from standing up in that harness to parallel with the ground just like that. The minute it came out from underneath my feet, I went, whoo! And I'm like this, just hanging. And I'm going, oh. And then I started praying. You know what I said? And I'm not a Christian. I don't have a clue. I said, Lord, if you get me out of this, I'll never do nothing stupid like this again. You know what that was? That was a lie. But in the moment, I just wanted out of something. Now, to carry on, because I can see I got your interest, they hoist us up. Boom! We way up. I mean, everything looks small. And it goes, boom! And I'm parallel still like this. And the dude's giving a thumbs up. And my cousin's beside me, interlock, going, pull it, pull it, pull it. Here's the promise on my hip. And I'm like this. I'm trying to find it. And I can't find it. We just hanging, suspended. The whole time, I'm lying to God. Because I done got into something. Is it his fault? I should have had more sense. But here I am on a dare, hanging, making promises to God that I'm not going to keep. Because I did stupid things afterward. We pulled it, and it actually ended up being fun once we started swinging, but that drop. Pharaoh is making a promise to God. He didn't make it to Moses and Aaron. He told them to entreat God, but he's making a promise to God. Let that sink in. He don't know God. He don't know the power of God. And a lot of people think they know God. They just like Pharaoh. The only thing we can know about God is what he allows us to know. Now, sometimes we just need to take a look around and we'll get to know him better, because look at the beauty of everything around us. Think about all the things we've done and what we deserve. A lot of times I was reading the comments on that rollover 5 times. People that wasn't even there. They don't really know what happened. They're going based off of what somebody else said. No clue. Somebody said, oh, I saw him. Now, who knows if that person even lives in New Hampshire that said this? Because people have a way of doing this. I saw him, he was on the phone, he was wailing his arms like he was fussing at the phone, had the phone up in his hands. Some of that just didn't add up to me, but he could have. I don't know, I wasn't there. So then the comments started rolling in. He got what he deserved. He got what he deserved. Now, he may not be dead, but because it rolled 5 times, I'm sure he's hurting. He got what he deserved. Who knows if it's even a him? He didn't list the person in the car, I don't guess. I didn't see it. He got what he deserved. What if me and you got what we deserved for the things we've done or said, or maybe not even intentionally? Maybe it was an accident, as we call it. Now, when I worked for the post office, they said there was no such thing as an accident. They said you could prevent it if it's an accident. You didn't take the right measures. Safety first. That's what they always preach. But if we really got what we deserved in this life, where would we be? How would it go? He's lying to God. I'll let him go. Don't you worry. We got through 9, right? Any comments? Let's go ahead and get 10, 11, and 12. We're on a roll with that.
So he said tomorrow, and he said, let it be according to your word, that you may know that there is no one like the Lord our God. And the frogs shall depart from you, from your houses, from your servants, and from your people. They shall remain in the river only. Then Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried out to the Lord concerning the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh.
So when is it going to take place? When's he going to let them go? How's that song go? Tomorrow, tomorrow. Oh, y'all don't want me to sing. Never mind. So, I'm sorry, what? I should have refrained. Okay. I don't mind. So, I wish I could do them all that good if it sounded that good, but I don't know if it sounded that good. Moses and Aaron said, according to your word. How important is that? What should our word be? What's Pharaoh's word? Pharaoh's word's a lie. What's mine and your word? But we human. We have flaws. We have yeah, we do. But it's an excuse to do wrong. Pharaoh just wants what Pharaoh wants. And he didn't even have to go through this. He was given an option, and he went through it the wrong way anyhow. Now, oh, how many times do we go, oh, you know what? I don't care if you give me an option or not. I'm going to do what I want to do. Oh, I didn't know it was going to be this. Let me back up and get out of it. I'll do whatever it takes to get out of this. And what's going to happen if it's released from us just like that? You go home today. I'm trying to think of a good example. I've heard this, so I don't know if I want to use this one. I'm going to use it anyway. And I don't mean no offense to nobody. I love everybody. You ever saw laundry laying on the floor? Yeah, all the women go, yeah, the men don't see it because they the one that left it there and ain't looking, right? But you can take your big toe and you can kind of flip it up and catch it and throw it in the basket, right? Right? Most laundry, I mean, unless it's a pair of my jeans that's so heavy it'll break your leg. But if you got something small, you catch it, throw it in the basket, and go on. And sometimes it might be heavy. Well, if it's real heavy, what you got to do? Use a little force, right? You're going to get a pair of my jeans up off the floor and you watch them really kick, right? There's a problem. My jeans are against the wall. wow, you break your foot. What if it heals in 5 minutes? Might you kick the laundry again? What if it's 6 months? What if they put you in a cast and you have to do sponge baths for 6 months? You get out of that cast, are you happy? Oh, yeah. Your foot may not be what it was before, but it's a lot better. You excited. You coming across the floor, and there lays my old britches on the floor again. You know what you're going to do this time? You going to kick it like that again? Or are you going to fuss at me to come get my britches? Or if not fuss at me, you're going to do this. Tomorrow, I'm going to let them go. Just remove these frogs. Well, if they go on that quick, think he's going to learn his lesson? What if he had to live with them for a while? You ever had toothache? You ever had your wisdom teeth cut into you? Is it painful? Extremely. That's right, it is. You ever had to have them cut out? Once everything healed up, what a relief, right? Now, if you was like me and Pharaoh, and you're stubborn, because me and Pharaoh's stubborn. Mine cut into me for almost 9 months. I sat at work on the side of a print machine going through 2 tubes of Orajel to get through the night. Finally, I had them cut out. They drug me up. I don't remember, but I was told when I went to pay, I had to have somebody go because I couldn't drive home. And they had drugged me up so bad that I was up there just dumping my wallet and all my money out on the counter going, it's yours. And the person driving me had to rake it all back up and go, would you stop? I was so drugged up, but when the drugs wore off, you seen that old carpet that's not like this, because you can't grab this. You seen that kind of come up? I don't know what they call it. Y'all might know. But I remember when the drugs wore off, I'm sitting in the middle of the floor just grabbing the carpet, pulling because I'm in pain where they cut them out. But when it was all over, I was like, wow. I'm glad I don't hurt like that anymore. It's sure going by quick with Pharaoh here with these frogs tomorrow. So they go to the Lord about the frogs. Any comments through verse number 12? Let's get at least through 15, 13 through 15. Oh, you had a comment? I'm sorry. Well, but go back to verse 10. Because, well, let's go back to 9 and then pick up 10. And Moses said unto Pharaoh, glory over me, when shall I entreat for thee and for thy servants and for thy people to destroy the flock? When do I need to? See, he said, entreat the Lord. And then he says, when should I entreat the Lord? And then verse 10, and he said, tomorrow. And then you're talking about Pharaoh saying tomorrow, right? Yes, and that's still a good question. That's still a great question, because regardless of whether it was God who waited till tomorrow or Pharaoh, listen, Pharaoh's already done acknowledged the Lord, but yet he's saying tomorrow? It's interesting just as much as the other way around. I'd have been hollering, go to him now. Just stop right here. If he can make them go away. All right, 13, 14, 15.
Gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not heed them, as the Lord had said.
You see why I wanted to get to 15 before we end Bible class. Moses went to the Lord. What did the Lord do? Why would the Lord do this? he knows that Pharaoh's lying to him. Why would he do this for Pharaoh? He didn't do it for Pharaoh. He did it for Moses. Pharaoh couldn't go to the Lord and entreat him. Maybe he had tried, it didn't say, I can't add to the scripture. But God wasn't going to do what Pharaoh asked. But he did what Moses asked. Why? Why is there something to learn there for us today? The Lord does hear us. And sometimes he answers us in ways that we wasn't expecting when we're faithful to him. Moses is being faithful to him, and he entreated him about the frogs, and it said the Lord did exactly what they asked. Now, they heaped the frogs on top of one another, and they did what? Smelled just like the bloody river, didn't it? Maybe not just like, but it stank. I say the same word. So they heaped them up, and they stank. Can you imagine a bunch of frogs? Man, we'd have had a good meal of frog legs, right? But they heaped them up on top of one another, and they stank. And then we get to verse 15, but, that's a huge word in the scriptures over and over. But when Pharaoh saw that the Lord had done this, who hardened his heart? If I had Jessica over there, no, Krista over there, she'd be going, there it is again. But this time we notice a difference. He's not capitalized, is it? If God hardened his heart, it would have been capitalized. I believe. Maybe not, but I believe. Okay, please. Harden his heart and hearken not unto them as the Lord had said. Huge. Any comments through 15? Did we learn anything this morning? I did. Anybody else? All right. Thank you for your attention and your comments, and we'll get ready for worship.
Yeah, is that okay? No.